I hit the button. I'm just. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mayday Network. I'm Michelle Kinney. I'm here with Jeff Jarvis and Julie Roginsky. Sorry, everyone, for being a little late this morning. Julie is at the vet with her puppy. She got a new puppy this week. It's very, very exciting. But her appointment is going very long. So that's why we're starting a little late. And that's where she still is. And here we are.
The suspense is killing. What name did you pick?
She is the cutest. I cannot even tell you guys. She's adorable.
What's her name?
Her name is Maggie. She's a little miniature dachshund. I just got a ton of medicine that I have to pay for right now. So why don't you guys talk and I will be right here with you.
Okay. Well, there's lots going on, obviously, per usual. The downfall of democracy, thanks to the American media establishment. I think the biggest news of the moment, and I guess we can start here. Jeff, I'd love to know your thoughts first. Stephen Colbert had his last, I'm going to mute you, Julie. I'm going to mute you. There you go. I would love to know your thoughts on Stephen Colbert's last show. Did you watch last night or
I
watch
watched this morning because I'm too old.
Fair. I was doing my best.
Yeah, I would say it's sad, but it's not. It's I have such anger about this. It's just ridiculous. Stephen Colbert was a voice of sanity in American culture and politics, and he's been muted by people who want to suck up to the authoritarian leadership in this country. And I hope and pray that he will come back in different form and go past old mass media and screw the networks and screw mass media. They're dead and dying, as I keep repeating here every week. But we need Stephen Colbert. We need his voice, his humor, his sense. And so it was just very sad. I was delighted, of course, to see everyone come to pay tribute to him, including Paul McCartney and including a Pope joke. And I'm so impressed with him that he is a mensch to the end.
Yeah.
He properly made fun of his now former masters. They deserve all of that, but he remains a gentleman, and they don't deserve him. And this country right now doesn't deserve him. So he's gone for now, but I hope not for long.
I could not agree more. I mean, I think he has so much more to give. And, I wrote a Substack about this. I've never written a Substack before. I decided to write one about this and my long history of fandom since I was a teenager of Stephen Colbert and what he has meant to me as someone who came to New York and was trying to be a performer and also just like as a human being. I think he's an exemplary human being, and I think that that's the other part of it. And I think that's why I keep going back and forth between sadness and anger. When you said anger, Jeff, I was like, yeah, I'm like angry, and I kept saying this to my husband last night. I was like, it's not like Stephen Colbert just like went off the air. Like that's not what happened here. An authoritarian leader of the United States of America pressured a private company to take him off the air, and they did it. And because they didn't
then tweeted about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then tweeted about it. Could I just add one more thing as I'm walking here through the streets of New York so everybody can get a nice view of the neighborhood? He had, and I got very teary last night. I didn't watch it. I watched it in the recording this morning. But he had Elvis Costello and John Baptiste and then ultimately Paul McCartney come out and sing. And they sang two beautiful songs, but the last one was Hello, Goodbye by the Beatles.
Perfect.
Which was perfect. But again, the night before that, Bruce Springsteen came out and did what Bruce Springsteen has been doing this entire tour that he's been on, the Land of Hope and Dreams tour, which is that he really took a shot at the Ellisons, took a shot at Trump. And my question is this: I continue to ask, why is it that octogenarian Paul McCartney, septuagenarian Elvis Costello, I think he's in his 70s, maybe he's in his 80s by now. And septuagenarian Bruce Springsteen, why are they the ones who have the testicular fortitude to actually come out and do this? I ask once again, where's Taylor Swift? She's been on his show many a time. She is, according to Page Six, all over New York City this week, getting ready for her wedding and having dinner. Why aren't people like that swinging by to lend their support to democracy and free speech? And it just underscored again, the people who have the courage are the McCartneys of the world, the Springsteens of the world, the Costellos of the world. Where the hell is everybody?
Yeah.
Where are the millennials? Where are the millennials? Where are the Gen Zers? And I'm going to hear all about how Jesse Wells and everybody else, is doing this and they're young and whatever. They're not the ones selling out MSG. And Jesse Wells has been platformed on this show many a time, not our show, obviously, on Colbert many a time.
Yeah,
Colbert.
because again, Colbert gets it. He gives the Colbert bump to the people he feels deserves it. Like always.
He knows celebrity is a power to be shared.
Right. But the people who should, like Taylor Swift, should have called Stephen Colbert, and she should have said, "I want to come on your last show," and I guarantee you, he would have made room for her.
Oh,
but
100%.
But she did not do that.
Yeah.
And it is. I don't mean to signal her out all the time, but she's the biggest mega star. She's the biggest star in the world right now. She has actually eclipsed Paul McCartney. And the fact that McCartney, at the age of 83, 82, is out there singing his heart out for democracy, the fact that Springsteen, at the age of 75 or 76, is singing his heart out, Elvis Costello, probably the same age group. Listen, it means a lot. Springsteen and McCartney mean a lot to a lot of people, but she means more to, I think, I don't want to speak for all millennials and Gen Zers, but she means more. And
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, that's, I could go on this rant forever. I wrote a Substack about it. Michelle wrote a beautiful Substack about Colbert yesterday, which I strongly urge everybody to go to her Substack and read. But it just underscores again the gutlessness of this corporate media, and I include in that the singers, the actors, the whoever's, who actually, are just terrified of the Ellisons taking over Warner Brothers Discovery, which means they'll be in charge of Warner Music. And so
what
on.
A joke.
I mean,
what
it's
a
joke. I think
so. It wouldn't be a week of this show without me complaining about Morning Joe.
Yep.
And so this morning they had Matt Maloney on from Puck, and it pissed me off because he positioned this still as a business story. Well, it was losing tens of millions of dollars.
God.
There's lots of things that lose money on the networks, including the news. And that's the wrong positioning. It's the wrong way to go. It's not there. However, so then later on comes on, you want to hear from the next generation and the power they have. The amazing Kat Abogazela is on the show. And I think, great. Who do they put her on with? Donnie Deutsch.
Oh my God.
Disgusting. So then they try to trap, they talk about the Democrats. We can come back to Colbert, but let me just, pardon me, this slight detour. So they want to talk about the Democrats' supposed autopsy, the forensic work on the defeat. And so what does Donnie bring up? Of course, he brings up, and what did the show bring up? It's the commercials about trans prisoners and surgery. And Kat, to her everlasting brilliant credit, they asked, well, what do you think about that, Kat? Is that wrong? Did they mess that up with the prisoner ads? She switched right immediately and said they messed up with Gaza. And she changed the subject. And she had something to say, and she took over the platform. And there are young people like her who give me a lot of hope out there. But they've got to do it in a new way. They're not going to get attention from big old media. Big old media is bought and paid for now. It's the corpse is bought. And so the power, what was the power of a Colbert to share, is no longer there. They pulled that out. They pulled that ability to share that celebrity and that power, and it's gone. So it's not just him we lost; it's that power we lost.
And well, and think it's funny. I mean, not to get into the autopsy, but Tim Miller tweeted something about this. He's like, for all of the, speculation on various social media websites about what that was all about. And was it Gaza? Was it not Gaza? The fact that it didn't even have that in it to begin with. And it was more or less that the autopsy itself looked like it was being written by a fifth grader. It was like, of course. I mean, like, that is the reality of the current Democratic National Committee. It's just a hot mess. But no, I mean, listen, this is again where are the billionaires with all the money throwing it at independent media? Where are all the billionaires throwing the money at smaller creators, not just for cultural influence, but again, like, we know that politics is downwind from culture. And if you're not changing the culture and you're not influencing the culture, you are, dead on arrival. And that's the other piece of this. That's just, I mean, and one of the things I wrote about, about Colbert is that he brought to us not just jokes in one of the darkest moments that any of us have ever experienced, but he showed us the greatest thinkers, the greatest scientists, the greatest artists, contributors, leaders. He did all of it. I mean, he brought us Whitman monologues, and he had Ian McKellen doing Shakespeare. I mean, Jimmy Fallon's not doing any of that.
No.
I mean, he's a clown. And I love Jimmy Kimmel for what it is that he does. I think he's fantastic, but Colbert is on a different level. He is smart, and he never talked down to his audience, not once. And he just expected more from his audience. And he's like, listen, if they don't get it, they'll figure it out, and they'll come along with me. And that was just always the expectation. And that is what we all did. And that is why we've been following Stephen Colbert wherever he will go. And we will continue to follow him wherever we go. But the anger that this man and the embodiment of, well, everything that he embodies in general, the goodness, the kindness, the difference between right and wrong, this like devoted Catholic in like all the best ways possible. It's the fact that this cruel, stupid, awful, just like empty vessel of a human being, Donald Trump, and his womanizing and his assault towards women, his treatment of women, his disdain for this country, this disdain for democracy, and all of the things that make this country wonderful and great, and the ideas that give us hope that, someday we will form that more perfect union. Donald Trump is the antithesis of Stephen Colbert. He is everything. Stephen Colbert is everything that Donald Trump is not. Just the way that he speaks of his wife, Stephen Colbert, and the way that he gushes over her after 30 years of marriage, is wonderful to see. And it's just like anger. And that is why, and I've met Stephen Colbert a number of times, through different phases in my life. And, I was first introduced to him, well, not in person. I first learned who he was when I was in 10th grade. And I brought one of his segments from The Daily Show when he was on with Craig Kilborn. I brought one of his segments to my AP history class, thinking that everyone would get it and everyone would love it. And no one understood it, that it was satire. And they thought that I was being really offensive. And I was like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. Because Colbert was doing things, in this like kind of guerrilla comedic journalism that nobody else was doing. And he's just been a North Star for so many people in my generation, at least. And I feel strongly that he will serve the people in some way, in some capacity. I don't exactly know how, but he's going to. He's going to take a little break, but he's going to come back.
So what he did so brilliantly was everything you said, and he brought the context of comedy. That you laugh in the face of evil, you mock it, and he did that for all of us. And I think it's interesting too to look back at the very first days of Colbert on late night. The show was foundering.
Yeah, it wasn't.
He didn't know what to do with it, and what made the show work was was becoming political.
Yep.
Was speaking as a voice for Americans who didn't feel they were heard, and that's what made it successful, and that's what made his audience loyal and huge, and why is it around for 11 years, and it could have been around a lot longer.
Agree.
And yes, they could have reduced the cost of it. They could have found other ways to do it. That's a red herring. He was sacrificed at the altar of Donald Trump, and I despise. But then again, what I hope he does, and I think I might have told this story before, years ago when when Howard Stern had one of his first contract up for renewal at Sirius, I was asked to introduce his agent asked me to introduce them to YouTube. And I introduced him to YouTube in the hopes that Howard Stern could have become the king of the internet. And YouTube blew it. Don Buchwald told me that they had a few conversations and they were all excited, and then they just ghosted him. So that was disappointing, and Howard continued on Sirius. I hope that Stephen Colbert becomes the king of what's next.
Oh, me too.
Not what was. I think that he can bring his celebrity, his power, his brilliance, his experience. It's hard for somebody to switch like that. If you're used to television, it's like Howard Stern talking about, he made fun of podcasts because, well, that's not radio. You do radio. And I can see Colbert is used to network television and all that contains and all of the trappings that brings. And it won't be as expensive, but it could be a hell of a lot more profitable.
Yeah.
He can make money doing this online. He can reach people directly online. The audience can support him online without dickish executives around him and above him. He can own it online. And that's what I hope for him, is I hope that he blazes a new trail that shows how the people that Julie talked about at the beginning of our conversation can avoid corporate media and create and the next generation can create a new path.
Yeah, and thank you for giving me the time to get upstairs and log back on. Sorry, guys, it's been a crazy morning. I'm just going to say this. Stephen Colbert is going to be fine. I mean, he's going to be just fine.
Of course.
He's writing the new Lord of the Rings. I mean, he's living.
Which he'd been planning on doing for quite some time, but it's worked out at the timing.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Colbert, the beauty of Stephen Colbert is the grace of Stephen Colbert. This is a man who still teaches Sunday school in Montclair, New Jersey, every Sunday. He's deeply Catholic, and I'm not saying this
in a good way.
In a good way. I'm not Catholic, but I will say that he actually listened to the Sermon on the Mount and decided to live those values as opposed to other people out there. And it was wonderful because he said his dream guest was to have the Pope on.
I know he kept joking about it, and it was like, oh my God, is he coming?
I know, which did not happen, because I think that would have been really a middle finger that the Vatican would have given Donald Trump if he had done that.
I know, that's why I was like,
yeah, but nevertheless, he's going to be just fine. He's in a wonderful marriage. He's lives in a wonderful supportive community. Aside from his incredible talent, where he can do anything he wants to do. What is not going to be fine is CBS.
Oh, no.
And ultimately CNN when the Ellisons take over. And, look, Warner Brothers is a dying studio in the sense that I think the entire studio system in Hollywood is dying off. You've got CBS, which we can talk about in a moment, but apparently Anderson Cooper's sign off on 60 Minutes last week caused a lot of consternation for Barry Weiss because he basically gave her the middle finger on his way out the door.
Good.
And there was subversion below, and that she wasn't warned of it, which I kind of love too, is that other people came together around Anderson Cooper and gave him the opportunity so that she didn't have the chance to cut it off.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Tanya Simon, who's the executive producer of 60 Minutes,
allowed it to go forward because she's been trying to walk a very, very, very fine line. And again, I'm a big fan of hers personally, so you know, I may be biased to my analysis, but she's been trying to walk a fine line between protecting her networks and show's legacy.
Well, she can.
And while she can, and also trying to not antagonize Barry Weiss. It's a very hard thing to do. I know Tanya personally, as I keep saying, and she is just a wonderful human being. And if anybody can kind of walk that diplomatic line, it's Tanya. But I will also say that she obviously understood that she had to make a choice here, and Anderson forced her hand, and she sided with journalism, and she sided with free speech, and she sided with the First Amendment, and for that I'm deeply grateful to her. Which means that, her job may be on the chopping block, and so is everybody else's.
It already was. That's my thing. It's like, go down swinging.
Exactly.
And, I'm like, it's coming anyways. And not to say that she's like the others. I'm not suggesting that, but there is something that I hope everyone eventually understands. They won't, but I can hope.
Yeah.
It's coming anyways. So you might as well fight. And that is what Stephen Colbert did. He knew that it was coming. And, I remember even just the day that it was announced, I was on air with Tara Setmayer over at Seneca Project. We were doing our show, and it came across my computer, and I was like gasped. And the whole rest of our thing was about it. And it still, since then, has felt like kind of this hypothetical. You know what I mean? Like, I like Stephen Colbert. But now that it really happened, like, this is where I'm like, I want people to sit with this. Like, Stephen Colbert is the biggest and first cultural casualty of this authoritarian regime, and it's getting worse. I mean, when you pair it with all of the other things that Donald Trump is doing, the IRS can't touch me and my people, building himself a bunker for when he's not going to leave office in 2029, the slush fund to pay his militia, to stand between him and everybody else. I mean, that's what all of this really, and it's like, not to go down that rabbit hole today, but like when we connect the dots here, it's just another piece of what is happening, and they're doubling and tripling down. And I hope that no one ever forgets what CBS did and how they capitulated, and they should be held accountable until the end of time.
Well, I think they're gonna die first. It's
They
gonna
have
be gone
to.
first.
They have
I want
to.
to tie together two dots that you've both raised. One is courage and one is anger in the face of this. So I sent you both. A.G. Sulzberger gave a speech to the Yale Law School Floyd Abrams event. And fine, it's full of saluting the flags that we're all going to salute about the First Amendment and fighting Trump. And indeed, the Times has been brave in court, but it hasn't been brave in print. It hasn't stood out and had the courage to call what's going on authoritarianism and fascism. And at the same time today, there was a Nate Cohn poll in the Times. And I'm never a fan of polling, and not of Nate Cohn's version of polling. But what was interesting to me was it said, and as this week, the Times was going after Democrats, calling it the Democratic Party a clown car, doing the full pitch bot against the Democrats. Oh yeah, they may be ahead, but they're screwing up everything. That was the Times view of the Democrats this week. And we have the autopsy this week. But the Nate Cohn poll revealed that the Democrats agree on issues. Mm-hmm. They agree on one thing, which is we must get rid of Donald Trump. They agree about that anger. They agree about that need for leadership. Where they don't agree is about the bullshit of media and polling, about words without definitions, like should we go more center or more left?
Right.
It's absolutely meaningless. It doesn't mean a damn thing. It is an invention of media and of the political press. And so that's what they're concentrating on. And so once again, you see someone like Colbert, or I wish Anderson Cooper had said even more, but he said something, and he managed to do that. Those are big flashes of courage in the case of Colbert, little flashes of courage in the case of Anderson Cooper. And we need more of that. And what that poll reveals is people are dying for the angry leadership to follow.
Yes.
And I keep saying, and I've said this repeatedly, Michelle, I think you agree with me on this, I will vote for the very first Democrat for president. Like, hear me, J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, Josh Shapiro, whoever is planning on doing this. I will vote for whoever the first Democrat is who says publicly at 12:01 p.m. on January 20th, 2029, I'm going to detonate the East Wing. I'm going to detonate the Arc de Trump. I'm going to strip the Oval Office of all of the
gaudy
Versailles wannabe, the Temu version of Versailles bullshit. And I am going to do that on day one, not because it's the biggest priority facing the United States, but because it sends a message that I am done with this shit.
It's symbolic. And this is where, like, morale, and I talk about this all the time, the Winston Churchill and the Blitz and all this stuff, like that they fired back even though that it wouldn't do anything, right? When they were firing back at the Germans, even though they didn't have the munitions, they didn't have the lights, but these people were getting the shit kicked out of them every single day, traumatized, being killed. And Churchill understood that you had to fight back no matter what. And it's morale, as much as anything, it is morale of the Allies during World War II that won that. If like that movie, the story about the black women that helped all the mail, like, I mean, because all of these soldiers hadn't been able to talk to their families or hear from their families, like, all of these things are so important, and that's where community comes into play here as well. And there's so many things that need to come together, and they will come together with a cohesive message. And the hero and leader that this moment just so desperately needs. And I do think, I'm not suggesting celebrities run for president, like, just for everybody come for me. Although I think at this point, you have to fight the war you're in, not the one you want to be in. But Stephen Colbert is one of those people. He is a leader in moments like this. And I hope that in this next chapter, that he will continue to be, and he will rise up into a different version of what that can be.
Yeah. And I think, Colbert is a very nice guy, and he has a very nice way of channeling things. Like, I think the Democratic Party it's the problem I think Cory Booker has, right? The Democratic Party is really
Kumbaya.
Like, really angry. Enough. And, there are three things that I think a Democratic president or leader, whoever wants to lead this party, Ken Martin is not that person, but whoever wants to be the de facto leader of the party, the way that Trump was the de facto leader of the party, even while he was in the interregnum period, said, one is what I said. Two is, tell me who your attorney general is going to be now.
Yep.
And tell me that you are going to investigate the shit out of
and prosecute
the Kushners and prosecute. On day one, you are going to open investigations into the slush fund, into this IRS grift this deal that allows Trump to effectively erase any tax evasion he's had in his life. And not just Trump, but his family and associated businesses. I don't know whose family. Is this his third cousins? Like, what is family? Like, do I have to do a DNA test to see if I'm related to the Trump family somehow and I get a pass? Right? Into the existing attorney general, who better pray to the sweet baby Jesus that he gets a pardon on his way out the door. If not, investigate him, investigate everybody under him. Make Trump understand either he pardons everybody or they're going to be investigated.
Yeah.
Investigate.
And then rescue change fundamentally the institutions to protect them against this in the future.
Yep.
Yeah.
Utterly change the court in the formula of Jamel Bowie. Utterly change the executive and what power it should not have. Change all of the institutions so that you can protect them against this, because it can't happen here. It did happen here. We need reconstruction too.
100, like, even more.
Oh God, yes, yes.
That was not done well.
No, exactly. It was never done well. The South never lost.
I mean, they assassinated.
We're entering Jim Crow too.
Yeah.
And so we need to reconstruct this country again.
And there is a quote that I saw somewhere, I think it was the New York Times, where maybe not, where Republicans were saying, if you admit more states into the union or you expand the Supreme Court, that's a bridge too far. There's going to be civil war. There's going to be civil war. Friends,
sure.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you have everything that you have done and gone much farther than anything Democrats are proposing. And yet, Democrats are not threatening a civil war. You want a civil war? Bring it. Because that will be on you. Again, the South will rise again. Who started the Civil War last time? The same people who are now threatening to have a civil war this time. Why? Because we want to admit the District of Columbia, which pays federal taxes, but does not have representation, into the Union.
And Puerto
We
Rico.
want to admit Puerto Rico into the Union because next time there's a hurricane, the president of the United States won't think so little of them that he'll throw paper towels at them because they don't vote.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they're citizens. If they want it, come on in. And, the third thing I would do if I were president of the United States is on day one, I would hold a speech where I would tell our allies that we understand we have a lot of work to do. We understand that we have a lot of trust to regain. We understand that they thought Trump was an anomaly the first time, and we proved that he wasn't. But that we are back, the West is back, the Asian alliances are back. And this bullshit of empowering dictators from Saudi Arabia to the UAE to Qatar to Moscow, that era is over. And in conjunction with that, I would investigate the shit out of Jared Kushner. So,
and weaponize the FCC against the Rupert
FCC,
Murdoch.
The FCC,
you know what I mean?
The CFTC, because the CFTC is totally corrupted. The SEC that can't indict you but can refer to the Justice
Hell,
Department.
the post office.
The post office. Yeah, I don't know why Biden didn't get rid of that clown.
Yeah, I would like. What was his name? DeJoy
They
or
could lose
whatever.
this election. All right, so pardon me here. I want to do it. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, while we're in this crisis, the New York Times headline, Tallarico's taco order turns into a Texas-sized debate.
Yeah, I mean.
Then we have Democrats' midterm strengths mask fierce divides and frustration, poll finds, or how Democrats lost the plot. All right, that's the Democrat side. We have fascists in charge. Meanwhile, what's happening in the White House? They're calling. Oh, no, I've lost it already. Damn it! They're calling Trump's payoff, Trump's $1.776 billion payoff. It quote tests constitutional limits.
Oh, it tests.
It
Cool.
tests the limits.
It tests.
And his payoff fund quote appears to violate administration's own policies, as if they have policies. This is how there's nothing to coalesce us together in our American media. We have to do it on our own. We have to do it outside of media. We have to do it outside of these institutions. Government is lost. Our media are lost. They're not there to bring us together to inform us, and we've got to do it otherwise.
This isn't another, this is another example of institutions or people or whomever not understanding. Just because you go soft on Trump or you do this, think you're going to be, absolved of any, pain of this man. There is nothing you can do that will protect you from the wrath of Donald Trump. Nothing. And you think Stephen Colbert is bad, he will come for you too. It is only a matter of time. And this is, when I was at LP, by the way, I pitched this ad, I don't know how many times, and I was always told no, or I was just ignored, patted on the head. I wanted to do an audience of one ad that was digitally targeted to media in New York and media in Washington, D.C., saying to them, that you will be part of this casualty. If you think that you're saving yourself by not properly reporting on the comeback of Donald Trump for 2024, you are sadly mistaken.
Look at Kat Abadzagala. She won her case. The case was thrown out as it should have been in Chicago, but she and her 5 co-defendants are out 6 figures in legal fees, which is the whole point. They'll come after you. They'll come after anyone.
Yep.
And by the way, as all this is going on, the Washington Post, what is it doing to find institution that brought down Richard Nixon? What are they investigating about Donald Trump? They did a big investigation of his curse words. And they call that his profanity. His profanity is his racism, his bigotry, his hatred, his cruelty. That's the definition of profanity, not the words fuck.
Yeah, I mean, can we just stop with the whole pearl clutching? Everybody in the world, maybe not everybody in the world, uses my mom actually does not. And she doesn't Russian. I take that back. She doesn't Russian. Nobody, nobody, including my dad, who thinks it's very offensive whenever I use it, uses these words. I've heard them. Like we all use, like, come on, we're all adults here. We're all adults here. I've even stopped telling my 13-year-old to stop cursing because, like, come on. Like, what am I, a hypocrite? Like, I do it. He does it.
The dog's going to do it soon.
The dog's going to do it soon. The other dog's already doing it. So, the other dog certainly did it when the new dog showed up yesterday.
Oh.
Could not believe his eyes. So I'm sure the word fuck.
He was like, what is happening here?
But no, we just have a few minutes because I apologize. I actually have to run at noon, but you guys can continue the conversation without me if you want. But to your point about the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos had a little sit down with Andrew Ross.
Yes.
And Andrew Ross Sorkin works for the New York Times. He also works for
CNBC.
CNBC. Again, I hate to trash Andrew Ross Sorkin, much like Tanya Simon. He is in my little ecosystem. But unlike Tanya Simon, he is not standing up.
And he knows how to. He's a good journalist.
He knows how to do it. He's deeply talented. But there is something about CNBC. I used to work there for a short period of time. I was a contributor there. For anybody who invested even a dime based on whatever I recommended, I deeply apologize. I had no business telling you how to spend your money, which is why I left. But there is something about CNBC and the business section of the New York Times where they have it's like a crush on these billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you must be right if you have a lot of money. That is the ethos at CNBC. It was that way when I was there, and it's certainly even more that way now. They would platform all of these people who talked us into the 2008 crash.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, Andrew Ross Sorkin had this ridiculous interview with Jeff Bezos where Jeff Bezos said that, among other things, that Trump had matured.
Yes.
That he was right about a lot of things. Not clear as to what those are. I mean, no follow-up questions. None. Zero.
What a joke. He's like Dr. Evil. He's Dr. And it was like, and then Melania the movie did so well.
This is
and
such a good business deal. Yeah. And Trump is so mature and smart now, and you have to give him credit. No, you don't.
No, we actually don't. We don't.
No,
and
it was actually tragic. I mean, because if you're Mark Andreessen, I don't know if you ever knew better. But we know that Jeff Bezos once knew better. He bought the Washington Post. He protected the Washington Post in a time with a different life. And so you're seeing the fall of someone with tremendous power and resource right before your very eyes. And Sorkin could have had a hell of a story this way. He could have said, but you used to say this. You used to do that.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this now? He could have shown that up. He could have shown the fall. He could have been very dramatic and good journalism, but he didn't.
He didn't because
let's move on, he said.
Which is what everybody always does. Like, let's just like la 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 la. Let's pretend this isn't happening. Which is why we're here. Which is what happened with Reconstruction. Which is what happened after Jim Crow. What happened after Nixon is like we have never properly held people accountable in this country. After 2008, nobody went to jail. We have never held people properly accountable in this country. So
what is the Times covering in Silicon Valley? I'm sorry, I'm going to end the show this way. This is the horrible thing, but it disgusted me. What is the Times covering in Silicon Valley this week? Sperm racing.
Yes.
Ew, I can't.
Yes.
Absolutely A, disgusting. B, that they decided to cover this ridiculousness of young people with too much money doing this crap. But then the reporter, the journalist, decides to enter his little boys in the race.
Gross. I can't.
Absolutely
I'm so
gross.
Disgusted. I am so disgusted.
Where's the judgment that this is the time? This is Silicon Valley and how it has an impact on our culture. And they think they're being clever covering this testosterone-filled idiocy.
Yeah.
And this is the sense of masculinity and technology right now. That's how the New York Times decides to cover it.
These are high school nerds with too much money and too much time doing dumb shit, because the girls wouldn't talk to them.
Bingo.
That's literally it.
Bingo. And that's who's running our world.
And I want
Who's
to underscore that, Michelle, because I know we want to play us out with some Colbert sound, but I want to underscore that. We all went to school with guys who were weird, and girls would not talk to them because girls have a sixth sense. Girls, listen, I'll be the first to say high school girls make some very, very, very poor choices about who they date.
Yes.
They date assholes. Exhibit A, Michelle, I'm sure.
And morons.
And morons. But we don't date weirdos. Because girls have a sixth sense, as do women, about weirdos. There's a difference between the assholes and the weirdos.
Yeah.
These guys were the weirdos. And then they became the weirdo/assholes.
With money and power.
Right. And we're not talking about the weirdos who do Model UN. We're talking about the weirdos.
No, I was a weirdo who did Model UN. I love the Model UN guys. Yeah.
I did Model UN.
We're talking about weirdos. We're talking about weirdos who sat at
Weirdos
home.
who are like in their basement. They don't leave. We don't know what's going on. They might wear a trench coat. We don't like them. They creep us out. And it's, again, Julie, it's the female. I don't know. It's the spidey sense that you have that these people are just not right. And now they are the richest, most powerful people in the world, and we have to stop them. And the last thing I want to show us, and because we have been talking about the golden age of television, if you are joining us on the Illegals, the Americans Rewatch podcast, we have been talking about the historical 80s context of what was happening in the show. We talk about the show as it aired in 2013 and how it all comes together here. Our next episode will air next Friday because it is a holiday weekend. We just want to leave it to next week. But I wanted to say that Stephen Colbert, and if this clip doesn't show, and I had to cut it out because Paramount and CBS are absolutely diabolical about showing 2 seconds of their content. He ended something so clever. He gave an ode to, well, first of all, I'll show the clip from the original show.
Careful with that, son. Remember it. I don't understand this autism thing, Pop. Here's my son. I talk to him. I don't even know if he can hear me. Because he sits there all day long in his own world, staring at that toy. What's he thinking about? All right, come on, son. Let's go wash our hands, all right? It's all right.
So that was the last moments of Saint Elsewhere with the snow globe. Basically, was just a dream. It was just a daydream. And there's Bruce Paltrow, executive producer. Gwyneth Paltrow's dad was a huge TV giant, for anybody who doesn't know that. And then here is the last moments of Colbert.
Come on, Benny. Let's go.
Yeah, that was tears.
Yeah. For anybody who didn't put that together, and I did see somebody write about it this morning. I was like, oh my God, I get it. Brilliant. So thoughtful, perfect in every way. and because we've been talking so much about that on the illegals, I wanted to show that connection from last night. So
we salute you, Stephen Colbert.
We
and we'll
do.
follow you into the next battle.
Amen. Amen. Jeff, you have a wonderful holiday weekend.
You too.
Everyone else, like and subscribe to the Mayday Network and follow along with us on the Illegals podcast, the Americans Rewatch Podcast. So everybody else, have a good Friday. Bye, everybody.